Liverpool are in with a chance of shocking the burner. Before we get into how exactly Manchester United collapsed at Anfield and Liverpool ran riot scoring 7, I want to read you a quote that Ten Hag said in the lead up to the game. For me, it's no different. The pitch is the same size everywhere. There are 3 referees.
The ball is round, there's air in the ball, so we have to play and to make it our game.
Ten Hag seemed completely unfazed by the thought of Anfield, and yet he arrived at that stadium with a full-strength team, the same team that won the Carabao Cup just a week ago, and held 7. 6 of them coming in the second half as Liverpool swallowed them whole. Anfield ate them alive, and Manchester United walk out with their most embarrassing defeat ever, and their biggest defeat in the Premier League ever. As I'm editing this video, I wanted to ask Manchester United fans a quick question. Would you have lost the Carabao Cup final if it meant that you could have won at Anfield? I'm not trying to sneer at the League Cup, but I just wanted to know how historic, how impactful is this loss, and whether or not you'd give up a League Cup in order to not have this stain on your record books. Let me know down in the comments. I just wanted to know and wind you up a little. A defeat this heavy is not to be understated. It's a traumatic event for Manchester United, a traumatic event for Erik Ten Hag, who now has this title under his belt. He's going to be labelled this his entire career at Manchester United, that he led out a team that went on and had their worst ever result in the Premier League. And not only that, but it was to their bitter rivals. Never again will the Dutchman underestimate the power, the atmosphere that Anfield can conjure up on a night like Liverpool versus Man United. And perhaps that is the only silver lining that United fans can take away from this game, is that Ten Hag, for as long as he is at Manchester United, and I reckon it will be a while because he seems to embody the winning spirit of United teams of old, never again will he lead a team out at Anfield with the confidence and even arrogance that his team went into that game with. Because, and I keep saying it, the trauma of being battered by your rivals at that stadium will lead you to an era of caution going into games like that again. And perhaps he'll set up a little bit more systematically, a little bit more cautious. And I don't think we'll see a result like this for a very, very long time. Anyway, enough about Man United. I want to talk about Liverpool and how excellent they were on the night. And I'm going to start with a tweet that I put up at halftime versus Wolves a couple of days ago. Who is Harvey Elliott? Every player at his age has a profile. Trent Alexander-Arnold at 19 had outrageous passing range and vision. Bajcetic has good technicals, loves a tackle and plugs holes all over the pitch. Elliott is just a footballer. Well, I found his profile and it is the fucking boy, because he performed out of his skin in the centre of the park at his age, and to perform like that just shows he has a ridiculous ceiling. There was a big decision that had to be made before the game, and it was the choice of the 3 midfielders. Obviously a big problem for Liverpool throughout the season, and what 3 midfielders was Klopp gonna pick? Bajcetic seems to be performing brilliantly, bringing other players up when he's on the field. Fabinho seems to be getting back that form that we know he can produce. So the question was, who was the third? Was it going to be Henderson, who has the experience in big games, can cover Trent on that right-hand side, but doesn't necessarily have the legs he used to? Or was it going to be Elliott, who looks a little bit vulnerable at times, not as physical, but does have the legs? Turns out, drop the 18-year-old, put Henderson and Elliott in the midfield, and they boss Casemiro and Fred for 70 minutes. The counter-pressing alone in this game was just so good to see, because it's been the biggest flaw in Liverpool's game throughout the season. It even crept into the end of last season, that teams are just able to counter-attack way too easily, being able to play through the centre of the park and leaving that back line so vulnerable. Henderson managed to regain possession 11 times throughout the game, which is more than any other player on the pitch. Elliott connected the football so brilliantly on that right-hand side, which meant that Fabinho could sit in the centre and look like the rock that we know he can be. Fabinho at times this season has been incredibly off-colour, but the thing is, he's having to constantly overcompensate, because he's never been a particularly quick midfielder, nor has he been a box-to-box midfielder, but he's having to get himself into weird positions in the pitch because the other 2 midfielders have terrible positional awareness. When he's able to sit in the centre of the park, the 2 midfielders in front of him can press well, the 3 attackers in front of them can press the the back line, Fabinho looks like his old self again. One thing that I do think has gone quite understated in the analysis of this game was how clinical Liverpool were in front of goal. They managed to score 7 times from an XG of 2.8. I think there were 8 shots on target, and Liverpool finished 7 of them. This probably lent into the fact why United dropped their heads so early in that second half, because when the opposition is finishing their dinner every time it's served up, you must just think, my word, it's not your day. I'm not going to go through every goal, but my 2 favourite were Gakpo's, because the first goal comes from a brilliant ball from Robertson, an excellent touch from Gakpo to send Varane, and slots it in so calmly into the bottom right-hand corner. It was just such a brilliant goal from Gakpo, and he seems to be growing into that false 9 position that he's learning from Roberto Firmino. He's a different player than what he was at PSV, but a really exciting one, and a really clinical one at that. And then Cody's second goal, my word. Mo Salah twisting Lisandro Martinez into a fruit twist. He had the defender looking this way, checking his pockets to see if he still had his World Cup medal. He thought he dropped it. He was looking this way. Salah slots in Gakpo and without even looking at the keeper, dinks it over into that corner, looks at the cop, and we're 3-0 up at this point. No way back for Man United. 2 brilliant finishes from the Dutchman, and all of a sudden Liverpool have an evolved front 3 that are finally finding themselves. I think Sturridge put it really well.
Chemistry with attackers is one of the biggest things and most important things in the game. It seemed to me today was one of the first games where I've watched them and thought, wow, like these 3 look like there could be big trouble for defenders.
And of course, to finish off the video, Mo Salah became Liverpool's all-time Premier League top goal scorer, a legend of the football club, one that we'll look back on in 10 to 15 years and think how lucky we were to have him at the club for that long, scoring that amount of goals. That front 3 of Mane, Firmino and Salah. He is the last one standing. Firmino, obviously, he's still here. He scored the 7th goal for Firmino. That was brilliant. But Mo Salah, if he carries on into next season, will be the last of that front 3. That front 3 has given me so many brilliant memories. Mo Salah in particular, such a clinical finisher. But that new front 3 of Gakpo, Salah, Nunez. Nunez got 2. How have I not even mentioned this? Nunez got 2. That front 3 is evolving. We've got Diaz to add to it. Jota came in late on in the second half. We are so deadly in front of goal. And I'm going to finish this video off with a statement which I might regret. Liverpool are in with a chance of shocking the Bernabeu.